Well, good afternoon and welcome to MGM Northfield Park. Michael Carter alongside of the Railbird, Bob Roberts, as we talk about the Kentucky Derby program. And Bob, let's get the elephant out of the room. Forte, the Kentucky Derby favorite, is out of the 149th Run for the Roses.
I was in the car, and one of my old turf riding buddies, Dave Grenning from the Racing Forum, was in the barn area when this happened. And the attending vet for Churchill Downs went to Forte's shed row stall, and he had been working with a foot bruise the last few days, and they thought they had it under control, but the vet made him jog and then flexed the leg and said, "No, it's not 100%. We're going to scratch your horse." And according to Grenning, Mike Rapoli, the owner, and Dave said, and Todd Pletcher both were pleading for the horse not to be scratched. So I think what's going on here is, in fact, if you go over today's sheet, there are 32 scratches. That's easily the all-time record Derby Day scratch report. At 14 races, but there's 32 horses scratched off the program. So Churchill Downs, to protect its brand, is being extra cautious. And if a horse, because at the big league racetracks, every morning the horse is entered, the vets go to the barn and you have to pre-race inspection. You have to jog in front of the vet. Right. And if he thinks you're off a little bit, you're getting the afternoon off. So they are being very cautious today. So that's why we have 32 scratches.
All right, race number 2 is actually coming down the stretch as we speak. We'll have the 11 o'clock prize drawing winners. Here they are: Renee Taylor from Akron, Kevin Frontline from Seven Hills, Michael Graves from Cleveland, Brian McCullough from Akron, and Ron Wagner from Beechwood. Please report to the prize area at the main entrance of the building. Again, that's Renee Taylor from Akron, Kevin Frontline from Seven Hills, Michael Graves from Cleveland, Brian McCullough from Akron, and Ron Wagner from Beechwood. Please report to the main entrance contest area. You have won the 11 a.m. prize drawings. So the number 6 horse was the winner of race number 2, as many of you just saw crossing the finish line. We're actually going to start handicapping with race number 3. Race number 3 is an optional claiming event. A field of 14 scratched down to a field of 11 here with the scratch of number 3, 6, and 8. And Bob, this was a pretty wide open affair. We actually talked a little bit off record yesterday about how wide open that this program was this afternoon. I'm going to kick things off with the 5 King Ottoman. I really think that the distance, J.L. Ortiz is up. He was in the at Remington. He was in the grade 3 event out there and finished second, but he really bounced back strong at Oaklawn Park back on March 17th.
Oh yeah, he's on my sheet that I put out downstairs, I had a horse scratch, so I slid up your horse 5 King Ottoman to 3rd. Yeah, he's definitely in the running for this race. I went for the 1 Bright Future, a Todd Pletcher Rapoli horse, so they can pull for this horse instead of Forte. This horse, his race on April 1st at Gulfstream Park, which he won easily, was very fast on the day. In fact, was the fastest mile of the day. So I think Bright Future may live up to his name and have a bright Derby day.
You know, another horse that I like a little bit of a price is the 13 Major Blue, stepping down out of the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. This 3-year-old was prepping for the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, his connections were not happy. He finished 10th in the Toyota Bluegrass. Right. It's a point system to get into the 149th Kentucky Derby. Obviously, didn't have enough points. Found a good spot here for him.
Yeah, he's in there, and I threw in the 11 horse Brigadier General. These fairground horses usually don't get a whole lot of respect, and this horse also held his own at Churchill Downs with a couple of on the board finishes. We just saw the 6 horse we're watching getting ready to go in the winner's circle. Yep. It's a fairgrounds horse, so fairgrounds horses don't get a whole lot of respect, but this one you can respect. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and you're also looking for value as you go on this program as well. I also like the 1 Bright Future as well. We're going to take a look at race number 4 here in just a quick minute. We're going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll begin with race number 4. All right, welcome back as we get ready to talk about race number 4 on the Churchill Downs program. Before we do that, let's talk about the 11 a.m. prize drawing winners. We're going to have prize drawings all afternoon until 5 o'clock this afternoon. The 11 a.m. prize drawing winners are Renee Taylor from Akron, Kevin Frontline from Seven Hills, Michael Graves from Cleveland, Brian McCullough from Akron, and Ron Wagner from Beechwood. Again, that's Renee Taylor, Kevin Frontline, Michael Graves, Brian McCullough, and Ron Wagner. Please report to the contest area at the main entrance. All right, race number 4 is the Derby City Distaff. It is one of the first stakes races on the program, a stakes-laden program, a race with no changes, only a 6-horse field going postward.
Thank God. Yeah.
And, you know, to me, it's a pretty wide-open race, but I have a star down here. It says, watch the track bias. Seen some front end horses win over this week here at Churchill Downs. Race 1, the front end held up pretty strongly. So the question about Goodnight Olive, who likes to close from off the pace and has won 7 of 8 starts throughout her career, is she going to be able to close, and is the pace going to be hot enough for her to close into?
Good question. I could tell you one thing about her last race. She won by a length, but it just says her loom 3 wide, cleared and held. He could have put another word in there, drifted.
Okay.
So near the end of that race, she drifted pretty good. So I'm going to try to beat her. I'm going with the 3-horse, Wicked Halo.
Yep.
And I'm thinking that this horse could have the home field advantage over Goodnight Olive because Wicked Halo, she's run 4 times at Churchill with 2 wins and 2 seconds. Goodnight Olive is making her Churchill Downs debut. So I'm going 3-2, and I put the 5-horse Matahari third.
Okay, I also like the 3-horse. I picked the 3-horse third, Wicked Halo. As we learned from last year's Kentucky Derby and Rich Strike, the Churchill Downs experience might do you some good, correct?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And it's Asmussen. He's the all-time winningest trainer in the history of horse racing. He's got so many horses. It's just this guy's already had 760 horses go to the post in 2023, and it's the first week in May.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this guy is everywhere with race horses. So it's a good race. Good race.
The question I have is what is Hot and Sultry going to do? If you go back and watch the Apple Blossom Stakes going a 1 1/16 at Oaklawn Park, Hot and Sultry had the lead at the 6-furlong point of the race and was passed by Clairiere, who's a very, very nice mare.
Right.
You know, the question is, where is Hot and Sultry going to be? Is she going to be setting the pace? Is Goodnight Olive going to have to try to come and get her? It's going to be interesting to see if speed holds up throughout the afternoon.
Well, in the first race, the horse that was probably best in the first race was handcuffed by the 1-hole.
Yep.
Extra. So guess what? Hot and Sultry is going to have to overcome the 1-hole out of the chute, going 7 furlongs. For Goodnight Olive, this is 7 furlongs is a tough distance.
Yes.
It's like all out. Goodnight Olive is 5 for 5 going 7 furlongs, so that's going to be in her favor. But I can't pick and bet every favorite, so we're going to try the 3. Who it's not going to be that big of a price either.
Well, and Chad Brown is a you know what I call the horse for the course for you. You're a big you like him.
Well,
like
he's been awfully quiet so far in 2023.
Okay.
He wasn't very aggressive in Florida, and he's not exactly knocking them down so far in 2023 other places either. So it's a very interesting race to watch.
All right, race number 5 is the next event that we're going to talk about, and number 6 and 8 are both scratched. Race number 5 is the Grade 2 Longines Churchill Downs Turf Mile, going 1 mile on the turf course. And I have a note here. It actually says Chad Brown race, ? Chad Brown's got a ton of entrants in here, some really solid contenders, but my top pick is going to be number 3, Haughty. The horse she beat in the Grade 2 Lake Placid, won back-to-back Group 2s in Maidan before finishing second the Grade 1 event at Keeneland back on April the 15th. Haughty is a very nice filly. You sort of have to toss that effort in the Belmont Oaks 2 starts back.
Right. Haughty, the 3, and 5, Spenderella, the 7-5 morning line favorite. These are both fillies that are going to make their first starts against older filly and mares. They just turned 4 in January. So I'm going to try to beat them both with the 2-horse, Speak of the Devil, who's 7-2. And by the way, speak of Chad Brown. Speak of the Devil. Here's Chad Brown with Speak of the Devil. So, yeah, and this horse is reuniting with Flavian Pratt, who rode this horse almost a year ago to the day.
Yep.
In the Distaff Turf Mile and won easily. So I'm hoping that lightning can strike twice at Churchill Downs. So give me the 2, Speak of the Devil.
Yeah, 2, Speak of the Devil. We've talked about this off camera and a little bit on, of course, Rich Strike winning last year's Kentucky Derby. Having the experience at Churchill Downs, winning this race 12 months ago, surely could help Speak of the Devil coming over from France. And I also used the 5, Spenderella in here. We talked a little bit about that. Coming off a 4-length victory at Del Mar. Race number 6 is the next race we will talk about. Race number 6 is the $175,000 overnight stakes. It is the Knicks Go Stakes. And talk about some really nice horses that are in here. To me, this race screams for a long shot. There's lots of horses in here that really like Churchill Downs. We'll get to who we like here in a second. Numbers 4 and 8 will be first-time geldings in race number 6. And my top pick in this race, Bob, is the 7, 3 Technique. 3 Technique does well in these lower-level stakes races, gets over the Churchill Downs surface, has hit the board 4 times, and was a winner here at Churchill Downs as well.
Well, we didn't copy off each other's paper, but we both landed on the 7-3 Technique, who on the morning line is 20-1.
Yes.
The reason I like this horse is closers had like very little chance at Keeneland this spring.
Yep.
Speed just dominated. This is a closer, so he's getting a second chance on life coming back to Churchill Downs, where he runs well. And this is a case where, let's say this horse goes off at 12-1. And you like him, you bet him to win. You got to back him up too. You got to maybe put him in the 2-hole with everybody in $1 exactas, but you want to be rewarded if you come up with a live long shot, and this should be a live long shot.
Yeah, I also used the 2 Mask Parade. Gets Joel Rosario back in the irons. This is another horse that has not missed the board at Churchill Downs, 6-1 on the morning line. Right. So you maybe get some value in the exotics with another really nice price.
And the 6 horse Zozos is coming up from the underappreciated fairgrounds, and he's back at Churchill Downs where he ran in the Derby last year and got his head handed to him, 10th, beaten 15 lengths. But this is a different level here, so Zozos could be part of the ticket too.
Another horse that I kind of like in this field is the 12 Caddo River. Loves the distance, loves Churchill Downs, 4-1 on the morning line. Yeah. Got to think you're probably going to get 2 or 33-1. It's D. Wayne Lucas. Listen, you can't leave D. Wayne Lucas.
Well, 12-hole going out of the chute, going a mile. That's a good starting spot because he's clear of any trouble, and he'll have a good clean run from the outside. That's another interesting race.
All right, race number 7 is the next one we will discuss. It is the Twin Spires Turf Sprint, a field of 14. Lots of big fields. And Bob, let's talk about that for a second. Lots of big fields creates lots of really nice value. There's lots of horses in these races, and they're completely wide open.
It's a good day to be right at the exacta line because you should get a decent value on your bets here because of the large, instead of bucking your head against 5 and 6 horse fields where there's not that many combinations, this gives you a better shot at cashing a ticket that could pay for most of your sins for the day.
All right, the Twin Spires Turf Sprint for $500,000. They're going 5 1/2 furlongs. Talk about a short race. We talked about the 7 furlongs being difficult. These horses are absolutely going to be all out as well. My play is the 4 Big Invasion, who has won 6 of his 7 starts at the distance and finished second in his only defeat at the distance, coming off a victory at Gulfstream Park in the Silk Run.
Yeah, again, we landed on the same horse, but that's okay. Rosario fits his horse like a glove, apparently, because the horse is 7 for 9 in his career. He's 1 for 1, like you said, at Churchill Downs. Went easy, too. So we're both going to ride this 4 horse. Horse I had second was nothing better. He scratched, so I scratched into the 14. And he's going to be tough because he's going to get a clean start from the outside, and he's got speed, and hopefully he helps set up a nice pace with some of these other front runners that help Big Invasion. But then I threw the 11 horse in Notorious third, another horse with a decent amount of speed. So we're hoping to get this 4 horse to rally into the winner's circle.
That would be nice. I also used the 6 Bad Beat Brian. And listen, Brian must have had a bad beat some time ago, but we've all got the bad beat stories to talk about.
Yes.
That effort in the Shakertown at Keeneland. I went back and watched the replay. It was a very, very nice effort. Likely is going to be close to the pace. And you talked about speed horses in the race. There's a decent amount of speed in this event.
Yes, well, we need that for the 4 to set it up for them. Yeah, we hope they all get out there and dance together.
And the last one I used was the 10 Aresby Red, who's a versatile horse. Made up a lot of ground in the Shakertown. That was a really nice effort where they weren't getting to the leader, Caravelli, in that event. So
he'll be coming with the 4 because he's going to keep. Well, he rallied last time. We'll see what happens.
All right, race number 8 is the Pat Day Mile. This was a race that you and I discussed a little bit off camera yesterday about how wide open it is. A field of 14 going postward scratch. Number 4, Midnight Rising. I'm going to kick things off with the 10, Curly Jack. Another long shot play here for me. It's had a string of really tough races, really bad luck. Was off a step slow in his last start in the Louisiana Derby and just never really got it back together. In the Risen Star was as live as the show horse who took the grade 3 event in his next go. So Curly Jack could spring an upset here.
Again, I mean, boy, are we going to hit this together? Because we have had the 6th, 7th, and now the 8th race. This is a pick 3 for us because we both landed on Curly Jack. Yeah, he's been over his head his last few starts. And if there's one trainer that doesn't get the due he deserves, it's Tom Amos, who's in like the top all-time 10 winningest trainers, and none of those 10 have higher win percentage. He's 25% for his career. That's pretty strong for a trainer. Every 4 horses he leads over there, one of them wins. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get 12-1. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to go off at that price.
Well, after me and you get through with him, probably not.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, my $2 shaking in my hand as I go up to the betting machine. I don't know about that. How about 2nd and 3rd here? General Jim.
Okay.
I put him 2nd. He's up from Gulfstream where he won the Swale Stakes, and the 7 horse Fort Bragg. He's okay. He was a Triple Crown nominee. They had high hopes on him. He ran 5th in the Florida Derby, so they're scaling back. And Tim Yakteen lost his Derby horse, so maybe this horse can give him a little consolation prize for the day, Fort Bragg.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see that. He's been working well. He's got speed, some interesting connections there. Kangaroo Court from the rail is my 2nd pick. The question I have about him is can he get the distance? He's going to be close to a hot pace. He's been working very well. Both the sire, the dam, and the lone sibling all have sprinting in their bloodline. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Kangaroo Court show up. And then I use the 12 Gun Pilot, who I have is stalking off the pace. But in these mile races, speed tends to be the factor. So if you're not close, chances are you're not getting into it.
Fort Bragg is Tim Yakteen. Kangaroo Court is Tim Yakteen.
Okay.
California trainers, I mean, I'm a Midwest guy, so I try to be fair when I'm evaluating East Coast and West Coast guys, but I've got to tell you, I think the California trainers have it over the East Coast trainers. Plus, the California guys, they'll ship to Kentucky, New York, Maryland. How often do you see these New York guys going out west? Very rarely do they go. I mean, I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but yeah, you got to keep an eye on. And I don't like when a trainer has 2 horses in the race and they're uncoupled. I know racing has a problem with short fields, but we're not supposed to. I mean, if you're a Tim Yakteen fan and you got $10 to bet to win, and you bet it on Fort Bragg or Kangaroo Court, and the other one wins, and you're seeing Tim Yakteen in the winner's circle, but you're ripping up your ticket. Something's wrong with that.
All right, before we talk about race number 9, lots of great promotions and things going on here at MGM Northfield Park this afternoon. Food Truck Festival begins at noon. Lots of great food trucks going to be outside on the patio here this afternoon. Lots of great beer specials and food going on downstairs. Make sure you're with us. There's a live shot of the apron as the food truck vendors are setting up. Lots of great area to sit out there, and the brand new tote board. It's got the Churchill Downs feed sitting out there. So some really nice, there's a shot of it actually, some really nice action out there.
You won't need that screen connected to a truck this year, right? They can just look out there and
just look out there, right? So
that's good.
MGM's done a fantastic job about spending some dollars here at the racetrack. Brand new lights all the way around our half-mile oval, and then of course, as you see, the brand new state-of-the-art tote board out in the infield here at MGM.
And what's
Northfield
post
Park.
time on tonight's live card?
First post tonight is 6 p.m. First post will be 6 o'clock. 15 great races. The Fillies and Mares take center stage here this evening. Lots of great action as Dave Bianconi will be on the mic calling the action for us tonight. So our director of racing will be on the mic.
So after you hit 14 races at Churchill Downs today, you hang around and do 15 more at
Absolutely.
Northfield. Next year we'll have the pick 29. It'll be a 10-cent bet.
All right. Race number 9 is the American Turf Sprint. They'll go a mile and a 16th on the turf course for $500,000. Another loaded field, a full field here. 14 go to post. Scratch numbers 12 and the also eligible 15. I believe 16 is going to run Scooby Quando. My top play here in this race is the 11 Carl Spackler. Trainers 27%. In the last year with runners right back after they win, is coming off a win out of a maiden special weight event. So stepping up to face some pretty stiff company in a grade 2 event off a maiden special weight.
Yeah, this will complete the Carter Roberts pick 4 as we both have the 11 horse Carl Spackler on top. It's Chad Brown.
I promise I didn't look at your picks.
I didn't look at. No, we did not compare notes. No. This just happened. I mean, of course, we agree on 4 straight out of 14 races. That's no big deal. But this horse is off of a sparkling maiden win down at Gulfstream.
Okay.
And this is his stakes debut. But these are 3-year-olds, so there's not a whole lot of experience among a lot of them. So I'm with you. I put the Carl Spackler on top. And the horse on the rail looks like the horse to beat, Major Dude. He does have a ton of experience with 3 wins and 8 starts. And he's coming off of a synthetic effort down at the Turfway. But before that, stakes winner down in Florida. And this is Pletcher, so it's Brown against Pletcher like it is almost every day in New York.
Now, number 5, Johannes, is my second pick. It has improved since switching surfaces. You have to wonder, is this a colt that just wanted the turf all along? Didn't really fare out all that well. Shipped to Churchill Downs back on June the 9th of last year and really was no good. Went out west to Santa Anita Del Mar. Really wasn't doing much on the dirt. They gave this horse a couple of months off. Went to Santa Anita's turf course, got a victory, scored another victory in a lower level stake race. And, who knows?
Well, that's, this horse started with Bill Moray in New York, and now it's Tim Yaktine. And he was smart enough to make the adjustment and put the horse on the turf, and it's unbeaten on the turf. It's 3 for 3 on the turf. So, you got to keep a close eye on that horse. And Rispoli, he's one of the top jocks out there. So, 15-1, got to use him.
And I also use the 8 Mo Stash 10-1 morning line. Louis Saez. We all remember Louis. He rode Max Loop Security.
Right.
He was. We all remember that day, right? He was disqualified after winning the Kentucky Derby. This is a horse that has speed. Check out that start. 3 starts back in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. That was a Grade 1 event at Keeneland. Finished 4th to a very nice Victoria Road, who was obviously, a really nice, nice horse in his own right. So you got to think that Mo Stash could spring an upset here.
Victoria Oliver has been on the Kentucky circuit forever, and she knows what she's doing. So, those are live horses at prices.
Who do you like underneath? Anybody specific? I
did the 1, and then I threw the 2 in there. Far Bridge, he's 7-2. It's more Pletcher and Brown, more Pletcher and Brown, uncoupled. Pletcher and Brown. All
right. Race number 10 is the Churchill Downs Stakes for $750,000. They'll go 7 furlongs on the main track. Scratch numbers 1 and 2 out of the 10th race. Another wide open affair. White Abario is scratched. You may see White Abario, I didn't check Belmont scratches, in the Grade 3 Westchester up at Belmont. He was also entered up there. So
he probably wishes he would have. I think the horse is in Kentucky and it was too late to get him to New York.
So my top pick in this event is going to be number 7. I'm just going to flip another page here. There's tons of PPs. 7, Cody's Wish. What about the story with Cody's Wish? Winning the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile at Keeneland, and we all know the story about this horse, and what an amazing, amazing story it is. And at 4-5, I think there's going to be a lot of people singling here.
I wonder if that young boy's going to be at the race, because he was at the Breeders' Cup.
Yes, he was.
One with special needs, right? Yes, nice horse, but I'm going to try to beat him. I'm going for the 8 horse, who's 20-1 on the morning line, 14 Hill. I don't see a whole lot of pace in this race. So I'm hoping that this Corrales guy can, like he did last time, either get him really close to the pace or, in this case, on the pace. I've always liked the work of trainer Paulo Lobo. So I don't think I'll get 20 to 1 on this horse, but I put 14 Hill first, and I put Cody's Wish second. And for third, I went for the 10 horse, Endorsed, Mike Maker. Kind of hard to shut him out because he's all over the place too. But this horse has won 7 times, but he's been second 8 times. So he's often content taking the second place check. So I'm going 11, 1, 2 in the ninth. I mean, in the 10th. 8, 7, 10, excuse me. 8, 7, 10.
Tejano Twist is another horse that I used. This is a time form, one of their best bets of the day. Really nice horse. Close from off the pace in that grade 3 event at Oaklawn Park. Picks up Landeros, who has won twice with this horse.
Right.
So, when the rider and the horse kind of get along, things can pick up
Nothing
there.
wrong with that.
The only problem I have with him is he tends to leave himself too much work to do turning for home, and unfortunately over a track that's speed favoring.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea, right.
All right, race number 11 is the Grade 1 Old Forester Bourbon Turf Classic. It goes for $1 million. They'll go 1 mile and an eighth on the turf course, and we've got a couple of scratches here as well. Scratch numbers 2 and 4 out of the 10-horse field, down to a field of 8. Horse number 8. Santon is my top pick, who should improve. He clearly likes Churchill Downs. He's 2 for 2 over the turf course. Last race in the Grade 1 Arlington Million back on August 13th.
Well, we are reuniting with this one because I have the 8 horse on top 2. Like you said, he's a horse for a course. He's unbeaten at Churchill, 2 starts, and not only has he won 2 starts, he's made $1 million in those 2 races at Churchill Downs. As far as I'm concerned, I always thought that Javier Castellano was the best current grass jockey in America. He's about to hand over the crown to Tyler Gaffalione, who is young and he's brilliant on the grass. He's got the mount. He had the mount for the long time. He didn't ride on the last 2 times, and horse didn't win, but he has posted some big wins on this horse, including both those wins at Churchill Downs. So I think we're going to make some money betting the 8 horse in this race.
Speaking of Tyler Gaffalione, he won the Kentucky Oaks yesterday afternoon.
On the dirt, but don't matter. No, this kid is really good.
5 Up to the Mark is my second choice, and the 3 Wolfie's Dyna Ghost is another horse that I use. Horse coming from the synthetic to the turf course in number 3, and that was a really great effort by the 5 Up to the Mark in the Maker's Mark mile. Needed the distance. Stretching out a little bit, go a little bit further here, has some more room to close from off the pace.
I went for the 9 horse Spooky Channel second with Rosario, and then I threw the 7 Hong Kong Harry in for third. Hong Kong Harry's California, and the Spooky Channel is coming up from the underappreciated fairgrounds.
All right. Race number 12 is the $3 million Kentucky Derby. They'll go 1.25 miles on the main track. Race number 3, however, is coming up at Churchill Downs. What we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. We'll let race 3 go, and we'll come back with the 149th Run for the Roses. All right, we are back following race number 3 while the stewards take a look at the objection. Race number 12 is the 149th Grade 1 Kentucky Derby.
Wait a minute. We're going to be stewards here. You think the horse is coming down, and I say he's staying up. So we'll see who's right there.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Bet 1,000? You want to bet 1,000?
No.
Oh,
my top pick finished second, so of course I want him to.
Bet 2,000.
No, I'm not doing that. But all right, let's talk about the Grade 1 Kentucky Derby. $3 million, a mile and a quarter, the first jewel of the Triple Crown. The second leg is in 2 weeks at Pimlico Racecourse. It is the Preakness Stakes, and then 3 weeks later at the Belmont Stakes, which is also Battle of Lake Erie night. That'll be a long night for you. You'll be hanging out with us.
I'll be broke and hanging around. I'll be the guy with the cup downstairs looking for handouts.
All right, several scratches here. We'll talk about those first. Scratch number 9, Skinner. Number 10, Practical Move. 15, Forte is out. 19, Lord Miles is out. 20, Continuar is out. 21, Cyclone Mischief will run, as well as 22, Mandarin Hero, and 23, King Russell. Big turn of events. Big rider change here on the 21, Cyclone Mischief. Goes to Irad Ortiz Jr., who picks up the mount following the scratch of Forte. We'll talk about all of those here in just a moment. We're going to go through the entire field. Churchill Downs PR putting out a tweet here just a few moments ago. Post 1 through 18 is where everybody will break from. So stalls 19 and 20 will be left empty for the 149th run for the Roses. Let's talk about it. We're going to go through the entire field and go through our selections. Number 1, Hit Show. Listen, we've talked about this before. Obviously, with the bigger starting gate, Post 1 isn't nearly what it used to be, but Post 1 is still tough to race from, and the inside draw hurts.
Because horses break and they tend to come over on you. But in the old days, the guy in the 1 had to actually make a bit of a right-hand turn because he was going to run into the rail.
Yep.
So, but that has been erased because the gate now doesn't have, the 2 gates are now 1 gate. They've found a way to make 1 starting gate. So the horse in the 1 hole's got a straight shot. But you don't mind a horse being in the 1 hole if he's has no speed. But if your horse has speed or moderate speed, he could get squeezed pretty bad against the rail. So that makes it tougher. Hit Show's got medium speed, so he may pay a price for being down in there. This is a horse that was second in the Wood. The Wood Memorial used to be a great yardstick for Kentucky Derby contenders. Hasn't been for a long time. I don't like Hit Show. Do you?
No, I'm not a fan of Hit Show off the rail, that's for sure. So we'll jump to the next one. Number 2, Verifying, who actually raced lights out in the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes, losing to Tappet Trice, just getting beat by a neck. One thing to note about Verifying, and we'll discuss it here, at least in harness racing anyway. In harness racing, when a horse tends to get loose during training or whatnot, that is an automatic bet. Verifying did get loose, dumped the rider earlier this week during training, came out of it just fine, no problems at all.
Right. I cut out a quote from Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. Here's what he says about the Derby. I think the 1.25 miles sorts them all out. I don't care who it is. There's a lot of horses that go from the head of the stretch, meaning they go backwards.
Yep.
Where the Kentucky Derby starts, quarter pole, all the way back, and when they get to the head of the stretch, they say, holy cow, how far am I going? I think this is going to be a big problem with a lot of horses today. They're going to start backing up at the quarter pole, and if you're trying to close, you better be clear because they're going to back up into your face. I saw something interesting online that I cut out. They took where the sires rank in average winning distance and where the dams rank, and they combined the 2 numbers. So the bottom of the list is Verifying.
Okay.
He has a 28 combined score. The leader, which we'll hold off for a minute, only has a 9. So Verifying could have a problem getting 1.25 miles. Do you like him?
I do, a little bit, but not a ton. I didn't pick him in my top 3. As you can see, our selections are right there at the bottom of the screen. I did not personally use Verifying, but Verifying has been working well at Churchill Downs. Obviously, the work from the other day where he tossed the rider. Tyler Gaffleone picks up the mount here, so he could make it the
Oh, yeah.
Oaks Derby double. I wouldn't be shocked to see Verifying win, but it's going to be a tough problem for him.
Well, just because we don't like him to win doesn't mean he can't be on the exacta, trifecta, superfecta, pick 5, your grandmother's pick, whatever, One thing about Brad Cox, he doesn't need his binoculars. He's got the horse in the 1 hole and a 2 hole. He can watch them both break out of there.
Absolutely.
So
my top selection is number 3, 2 of Phil's, a versatile colt. Going to try to do it after winning at Turfway Park in the it says the Junior Stakes Grade 3 event, but a really nice
that's
stake.
Jeff Ruby.
I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. It's the Jeff Ruby Stakes.
Big steakhouse down there.
Big steakhouse down
right.
there. But
right.
It's a Grade 3 event. Won by 5 1/4 lengths convincingly. So it's going to try to use that as a kind of a stepping stone after finishing 3rd in the Risen Star. One thing to note, did win over the slop at Churchill Downs back on October the 30th of last year.
Right.
Won by 5 1/4 lengths in the Grade 3 Street Sense. Obviously, this is a pretty modest step up in class from a Grade 3 event, but 2 Phils could very well stick his nose into it.
Well, the only time he ran in a Grade 1 was a Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, and he got his head handed to him, but that was last year. Now he's a 3-year-old. Larry Ravelli, the trainer, is a pretty sharp cookie. He ships these horses everywhere and anywhere. He's a Chicago-based trainer. He wished Arlington Park didn't go away, so he is stabled at Hawthorne, and this horse threw back-to-back bullet works at Hawthorne. Jared Loveberry has been an Ohio jockey. He spent some time at Thistledown. He's been around, so this horse has become like the now horse for a lot of people, 2 Phils. It'd be a great story if he wins. His average winning distance combined number is 22, so he's near the bottom of the list for getting a route of ground. But that's just more numbers.
More of a long shot here for Confidence Game. Has 2 wins over the Churchill Downs Surface. Last graded stake race over the Churchill Downs Surface was the Grade 3 Iroquois and finished 5th. It's going to be tough for Confidence Game here, I think.
Yeah, he hasn't. Here's the problem there. I mean, if this horse wins, no one's going to run their horse in a Derby prep after February 25th. Horse has not run since February 25th. That is a long time off. He has worked brilliantly at Churchill Downs.
Yep.
He has a good record at Churchill Downs. James Graham, he's been around for a long time too, so I don't like him, but there he is.
One of the last horses to race off a pretty long layoff, Barbaro, back in 2006.
Wasn't
That's
that
a
long, but it was long
Yes.
layoff, but it wasn't this long.
5 weeks.
He
if I
raced
remember
right. He
correctly.
raced in March. Right.
All right, Tappet Trice is the 5. Probably going to be one of the horses that are bet exiting a race that is of his best buyer ever. But the concern is who he faced in his winning streak. The question is it going to affect him today? He won the Bluegrass by a neck, won the Tampa Bay Derby by 2 lengths. He's really getting hot at the right time for trader Todd Pletcher.
Right. He's a horse that hasn't missed. Everything that's been scheduled for him has gone off the way they wanted it. The races, the workouts. Luis Saez, he never gives up on a horse. Some people think he might get too far back. I don't know if he's going to get that far back. I did put this horse on top. And when it comes to average winning distance, he's tied for the best with a combined score of 9 between Sawyer and Dan. He's not the Sawyer Tappet. He's had 4 Belmont winners. A lot of people say not today. Bet him when they go in the Belmont, but I put him on top.
All right, 6 Kings Barnes was unraced at 2, is 3-for-3 for trader Todd Pletcher. The interesting thing about Kings Barnes, the 2 jockeys that won with him, Luis Saez and Flavian Pratt, both jumped to different horses in the Kentucky Derby. One to Tappet Trice, the other of Angel of Empire. So that's got to speak volumes as to what they think of Kings Barnes' chances. Jose Ortiz is no slouch, though. Kings Barnes got a decent chance here, but he's really going to have to step up his game.
He ranks high in endurance numbers. He ranks 3rd on the list. Yeah, I mean, he got to go really slow in the Louisiana Derby. Let me tell you something. They better not let him go slow today because he could get brave on the lead here. By the way, originally I had picked Tappet Trice 1st, Fort 2nd, Kings Barnes 3rd. No trainer has ever finished 1, 2, 3 in the Kentucky Derby. 4 times a trainer has finished 1, 2, but not since 1948 when Ben Jones sent out Citation and Coletown. Before that, it was 1926, 1921, and 1919. And the guy in 21 and 26, Derby Dick Thompson. How's that for a nice nickname? Derby.
I'm going to start
Dick.
calling you the holiday or Hollywood Hayden of thoroughbred racing. Man,
For a
you're
little-
pulling out all these stats.
Well,
here. I like it.
you got time. You do a little research. It makes for fun conversations. Hey, don't forget there's going to be an hour between races real soon. You have to have something to talk about.
Number seven is Reincarnate. Hasn't done well since shipping out what I would call East. Oaklawn Park is more of a, I guess you would call it a Midwest track.
Midwest
it's a
track.
southern track.
Right.
Was third in the Rebel. Was third in the Arkansas Derby. It's a horse you might use underneath, but I'm not picking Reincarnate to win.
I thought he was really brave in the slop in the Rebel, so I bet him in the Arkansas Derby, and he was really, it says here empty. He was flat or empty. It's Tim Yakteen. It'd be a great story if he loses a practical move and wins the race with Reincarnate. You got one of the veteran knows how to win a Kentucky Derby jockeys in the saddle, Johnny Velasquez. So he's been working good in California. So, I mean, would you be surprised that he wins?
not
I
at
mean,
all.
I don't know about this 50 to 1. I don't know where they come up with that morning line. That's kind of ridiculous, 50 to 1.
All right, from the barn of trainer Gustavo Delgado is the 8 Mage. A lot of folks on social media, people's opinions that I respect, really like Mage. That was some effort in the Grade 1 Florida Derby. Had so much ground to make up. He broke last in the Florida Derby and passed everybody except for Forte, who he will now not have to face today.
Well, he did pass Forte. That is the big question. And he made this huge move in the turn, and he went by Forte. And Forte came back. Everybody thought Forte was done at that point.
Yep.
And then here comes Forte in the last eighth of a mile to nail Mage. So here's the question. Mage can't get a mile and a quarter, or the jock moved too soon. And he was empty at the 16th pole and couldn't finish it off. That's the question. When they scratched Forte, I moved Mage up in the 3-hole in my selections.
Okay.
He's only run 3 times. Obviously, Saez gets off to ride. Tap it twice.
Correct.
But the guy who picked up the mount, who's never won a Derby, Castellano, he knows his way around the racetrack, too.
All right, number 10 is Practical Move, who's one of the deep closers, has been working well for trainer Tim Yakteen, but he is out.
He's
obviously.
out.
So
9 is
10 are
out.
I forgot
Skinner
to
is out.
scratch
Yeah,
them on my
right.
paper
He's out.
here.
You go to the 11.
The 11, Disarm. 11, Disarm is the next one we'll discuss. Steve S. Musid is the trader. Was third in the Grade 3 Lexington at Keeneland. Rosario picks up the mount once again, and Rosario rode in Louisiana Derby, finishing second behind Kingsburn. This is the third start in 6 weeks, so we go from one extreme where a horse hasn't started since February to the other where it's the third start in 6 weeks.
I don't think I'm wrong. I think they ran in the Lexington because they needed points to be assured of a spot in the Derby.
That makes sense.
And he ran third. He picked up what he needed. But if you like him, you better like Kingsbarn because Kingsbarn dusted him in Louisiana. I don't know. I mean, there's another horse that if he wins, I'll go, yeah, I guess. And by the way, Asmussen thought he was going to win last year's Derby with Epicenter. He still grates on him that here comes this long shot chewing up the inside to beat him. So he thinks this could be his Derby. This could be his Derby Disarm. Can't throw him out. If you're betting gimmicks, you got to throw him in.
All right, the Brad Cox tradie, number 12 at Jace's Road, has 2 starts at Churchill Downs, has only hit the board once. Really going to have to do some work to win with Jace's Road.
Yeah, there's been some sour grapes in the barn. Like people, I'm not going to say it on the record, but they say, hey, what's he doing with? He's got the 1 and the 2 in here. Is he stopping somebody else from getting in the race? Well, eventually he didn't stop anybody from getting in the race because they're all in from the also eligible list.
I'm talking 46, 47 seconds in the first half mile. Sun Thunder could be there to pick up the pieces.
Putting blinkers on him. This is a trainer that's always hard to get right, this Ken McPeak. He pops up and he wins these graded stake races. This horse, it's funny, this horse is by Into Mischief, whose stud fee is $250,000 in a love session. He is by Harlan's Holiday, the all-time greatest Ohio bred. Harlan's Holiday broke his maiden at Thistledown in a stake race. Ken McPeak trained Harlan's Holiday, and when he got good, the owners took the horse away from McPeak and gave it to Todd Pletcher. Okay. And Harlan's Holiday won us $3 million. And I once asked McPeak, I go, you must really miss Harlan's Holiday. Yeah. He said to me, I miss the horse, but not the owners. So that's how talk about some hard feelings. Yeah. Some thunder, he could be thundering late.
One of the horses that could potentially be the favorite is actually the favorite in the Oaks Derby double now is number 14, Angel of Empire. Solid contender, won the Arkansas Derby by 4 1/4 lengths. Flavian Pratt chooses Angel of Empire here. He's improved sharply since increasing distances, so he could be getting better at the right time. Where I would be concerned about Angel of Empire, and we might talk about it, is in 2 weeks in the Preakness Stakes.
Yes. Yeah, I don't have a real good feel for this horse. He may beat me, but he's not in my top 3 or 4. I mean, it's more Brad Cox. What's he got, 4 in here? My goodness.
Like
yeah, I think he's got with the 1, 2, 12, and the 14. I mean, yeah, he's taking a ton of money, and he's the now horse for a lot of handicappers. So we'll see. He's only lost twice in his life. He's never raced. It's funny. It's a Brad Cox horse who's never raced at Churchill Downs. That doesn't happen too often.
No, not much. 15 Forte, we've talked about that. We won't beat,
Yeah, he's
beat
got
that
a
anymore.
foot. I mean, for those who haven't been following it, he came out this morning. He has a foot bruise. They thought they were going to be able to get over the foot bruise, but when the vet from Churchill Downs inspected him today, made him flex the leg and walk around, he said he ain't 100%. So the way things have been going this week at Churchill Downs with some horses, they scratched them.
All right, number 16. Listen, I've got a family at home now. I told my wife this morning, have my 2.5-year-old pick a selection. She picked 16, Raise Cane. I think it's because she likes chicken fingers.
Well,
Raise Cane's going to need to do a lot to win here.
Wouldn't that be something if this horse gets there? Well, he's a local trainer, a good guy too, Ben Colebrook. He won he saddled a horse in New York, and he had, was it the Gotham that he won?
Yep, he won the Gotham.
So he saddled the horse at Aqueduct, didn't have enough time to watch the race, jumped in an Uber, went to the airport because he had a horse in the Jeff Ruby.
Yes.
And he raced back to Kentucky to saddle that horse. So he won't have to worry about that today. Be a great story if he wins, but I don't like him.
I don't like him either. 17, Derma Sotagatke. And now this is a now horse for a lot of people. And for those of you who follow American racing, the Japanese runners are absolutely just lighting it up across the world. It's only a matter of time before they win a Kentucky Derby. We talk every year about the UAE Derby, and the last few years, the winner of the UAE Derby has shipped over. You get 100 Derby points, so you're basically guaranteed a spot.
I think it's winning you're in.
And
yeah.
the thing about the UAE Derby, the ship from Maidan Racetrack over to the United States, I mean, you're only talking about a 5 to 6 week layoff here. So it's tough for these horses to win, but Derma Sotagake, they're determined to do things their own way.
That's right.
He's been working great. He's been training great leading up to the race. He has got a legitimate shot to win this race.
Yeah, a couple of friends of mine love him, and I went back and watched the UA Derby. He had the rail.
Yep.
He went wire to wire. You could find him on the lead today.
Yes.
I'm not going to get beat by the first Japanese horse. I'm going to use him, I can tell you that. But we're going to get over to another one who scares me just as much, if not more. But the UA Derby, I mean, he went fast, but I also looked up that the horse that went even faster winning that race was Mendelssohn a couple years ago, and he threw a fit and he was nowhere. So, but you got to use him if you're betting. 18 Rocket Can, we won't spend too much time here. Blinkers on, is sort of tailing off and going the wrong direction leading up to the Derby. This is Bill Mott. He says from the quarter pole to the wire, you'll find out what you got. This horse hasn't run too good from the quarter pole to the wire in his last 2 starts. He lost ground in the Arkansas Derby, and he lost ground in the Fountain of Youth. So this might have been a better Preakness horse, now that I've got a condition book in my hand and I'm training for Bill Mott, but I'm not using him.
All right, number 21, Cyclone Mischief, was third in the Florida Derby. 3 of his last 5 starts were from wide post positions, and he's all the way outside once again here. He could be stalking from off the pace. What do you think of Cyclone Mischief?
Well, what happened last year? The horse that drew in won the race. This is Dale Romans. He's a local guy. He picked up Rod Ortiz. Obviously, his Florida Derby wasn't all that bad. He might just be maturing a little bit late. He'll be a big price if he gets there.
All right, Mandarin Hero 22. This is a horse that both you and I both like. It's a Japanese runner who shipped to Santa Anita to race in the Santa Anita Derby. Just got beat by a nose. Practical Move is not here. He raced lights out in the Santa Anita Derby. I like Mandarin Hero in this spot.
So do I. I got to use it because that day we were still hanging. They ran the Santa Anita Derby early enough that day where I didn't have to stay here until 9 o'clock. So I went back on YouTube and called up his races in Japan. He ran in on some dusty, deep racetrack back in Japan, and he raced well, and he ran lights out in the Santa Anita Derby. But I was told that he races on the Indians. I mean, the Guardians are Major League, and then the Columbus, whatever they're called, they're the AAA, and the Rubber Ducks. He races on the minor Japanese circuit.
Okay.
But for him to come over here and race that well, get beat a
Nose.
head or nose, whatever. Yeah, was it a
Beat a nose, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not use him? So got to throw him in.
And then 23, King Russell has one start over the Churchill Downs surface and didn't make it. We'll need some work today as well.
He's going to get overlooked, but I tell you what, 6 starts, 1 win, 3 seconds. Got beat 4 lengths in the Erkins. Well, if your friends and my friends like Angel of Empire, how are they not going to use the 23 horse? Got beat 4 lengths and ran second. So,
all right, I'm 3:22.14 in the Derby. You are?
I am 5.68.
5.68. I'm 3:22.14. He's 5.68. Lots of great things going on. We'll take a look at the shot of the apron one more time. Food Truck Festival getting ready to kick off here at MGM Northfield Park. Lots of great food trucks going on outside right now. Look at the crowd piling in out there. It's getting busier, that's for sure. But about
it's early.
About 5:30, 6 o'clock, they're going to be standing shoulder to shoulder.
For sure.
So make sure to get some of the great food trucks. Check out some of the amenities that we will be having here at MGM Northfield Park. Bob, it's been fun. Thanks so much for stepping in as always. And
Michael offering refunds on anybody who bets his horses they don't get there, but he also wants 10% if you win.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
You got it,
for the
pal.
Preakness. Thanks, guys. Good luck.